Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for Thursday's daily talk of stock. And we're going to talk about two amazing growth opportunities that have a very bright future ahead. And we're going to talk a little bit about the economic news and data. We're going to start out with the economic news and data first. As always, however, this is not financial advice. I always recommend doing your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. So with that being said, we did see the Dow top 46,000, and we did see the S&P and the NASDAQ notch new records today as we got the numbers around the CPI, so inflation for the consumers. And just as this reads right here, we did see with this latest reading that inflation showed that consumer prices ticked up in August and jobless claims rose to their highest level in nearly 4 years. Together, the data helped set expectations for the pace of interest rate cuts this year. And so right now, we all know that the Fed is expected to cut on the 17th, but the question is, how high is the cut going to be? So right now, there's a 92% projection that the rate cut does end up being just 25 basis points. And I do believe that that will be the case because we are in an environment where we are seeing rising inflation and a weakening labor market. That is not a positive by any means, but that is why one of the stocks that we are going to be talking about is Robinhood stock, because just as Vlad, the CEO, just came out and said investing for a living could replace labor in a post-AI world. And I have been saying this for a long while. I believe that is exactly where we are going at as a society. In general, the wealthy are all the ones who own all the assets, all the real estate, all the stocks. They understand that we are in a society where money makes money and labor in general is diminishing. As we know, inflation again has been rising and wages have stayed stagnant. So now it is more important than ever for investors to start understanding how to use these investing apps and really take control of their finances. I know that everyone I'm talking to here already is doing that. You guys are all ahead of the game in that sense, but still so many different people not taking advantage of the tools that we have right in front of us. And with Robinhood, they just announced a plethora of amazing tools that will be coming out very soon. They just had their big Robinhood Summit event over the last 2 days, and they talked about implementing AI within the Robinhood platform and just all these different tools and indicators that are going to help investors, including Robinhood Social. And so the growth within Robinhood has been tremendous over the last year. If you just joined Robinhood these last couple days, there has been some volatility within the stock price. We saw ourselves go from a drop all the way down to $96. We rose all the way to $123, and now we've had some choppy days within Robinhood. But this is no concern to me because with Robinhood, we have been investing on this entire rip up because of all the amazing fundamentals within this company. Just like Vlad said, we really are going into a society where everyone is going to need to be their own investor. We are seeing AI take more and more jobs. The weakening labor market that we have been seeing, I do expect to continue, and I think it is only going to get worse as the years go on. If we just talk about the way AI is in our world today and the way all these corporations are using AI, currently there are still so many jobs, in my opinion, that are basically just a courtesy to the employee. They could already be changed over straight to robot automation if the company were to do that, but so many jobs are still just a courtesy. I mean, we could look at a cashier, for example, at a grocery store. We already have the self-automated cashier services where we could do it ourselves. And then we are even going to the next level we have seen with these Amazon stores where you could just pick something up and then head out of the store. That is the future that we are going into. And this is why we all need to prepare ourselves, because the markets are going to continue to be crazy as we move forward with the years. With inflation rising, all assets rise, and all assets in the stock market rise also. And so there is some concerns about us being in a recession. But what I would say to investors, even if the general economy does go into a recession, the stock market is not the economy. And so the stock market could still push up just like inflation. And with that, Robinhood is one of those stocks that I see having a ton of growth. So although we are at $117, I do believe that Robinhood has a lot of potential to go even higher. When we look at Robinhood on a fundamental aspect on the actual company, they right now are at a $100 billion market cap. I believe in the near future, they could be at $1 trillion market cap. And when we just look at what this company has done over the last year, when it comes to revenue, they have had their greatest quarters ever. The first $1 billion quarterly at the end of 2020. They constantly have a positive earnings per share. And this company has also done a ton of expansion this year, introducing their tokenized assets, going out to the European Union. And then with everything they just announced at this Big Hood Summit event, this encourages even more users to get on to Robinhood. And so it is a favorite among young people. They are going international, and the growth in Robinhood as the years go on should be insane. Just like Vlad was saying, we are going into a world where it is going to be a post-AI world. AI is going to take so many jobs. And if we're talking about what the market's performance should be going forward, you know, there is two types of speculative thoughts that I hear online. I hear some thinking that the markets will have a big crash because of the recession, all these different news that we get, all these different events. And then I also hear about the great melt up, which I think is a lot more likely, because we really are in a society already where the stock market holds so much weight, so much wealth is within the stock market. And I do not see the Federal Reserve or the government allowing this system to fail. So just as we see in the most recent term with the Fed finally cutting here in September, this just shows what the Fed's hand is. The Fed really showed their hands in 2020 when they cut interest rates down to 0%, showing that they would not allow the economy to fail. And now they are doing the exact same thing. Although we aren't getting interest rates down to 0%, the Fed has tried to tighten up over the last couple of years, but it shows that even with a little bit of tightening, the economy is going to get wonky and get ugly. A lot of investors, a lot of Americans, a lot of consumers are wanting to see this rate cut. And this is a part of a bigger cycle that we are going to see. So we're going to see more rate cuts beyond even just this next Wednesday. This should be very stimulative for the markets and for the economy. And with Robinhood being a brokerage app for you to invest into, this company makes a ton of money on Robinhood Gold, and then all the transactions, all the crypto fees, everything that this company provides. So just like the Wolf of Wall Street said, where all of us are trying to make money in the equity markets, going from one play to the next, where these brokerages make all the money, they make all the paper in between every single transaction. So Robinhood, very wealthy, just had a $1 billion quarter recently, and their $1 billion quarterlies will continue into the future. So I am very, very bullish on Hood. If you are feeling some fear, uncertainty, and doubt about the recent congestion that we have seen, well, on the 17th, I think that this will be tremendous for Robinhood and all risk assets, and we should see Robinhood rip up even higher. Very exciting what we have recently seen at that summit. Overall, not enough good things I could say about Robinhood, which is now going to bring us into our next stock, which is also a tremendous growth opportunity, which recently did have a bounce off the 200-day moving average. And when we talk about technicals, well, what I have drawn out here is this rising level of support and resistance. And we could see in the short term that rising level of support correlated right with that 200-day moving average, where we have seen the bounce in HIMS. We are rising now on the relative strength index and on the MACD. And this is another one of those assets, which is a growth asset, but also has a lot of volatility associated with it. So definitely a risk asset. And when we see the rate cuts next week, this could be huge for HIMS being a risk asset. And right now, just on technical analysis, we are sitting at a great spot for any investors who want to add to their HIMS while we are closer to that level of rising support and not rising resistance. The reason why I am so bullish on HIMS and HERS Health, similar to Robinhood, when we talk about the actual fundamentals of the company, a lot of positives that we could talk about with HIMS and HERS Health. Just when we look at their quarterlies, we could see that they have been accelerating all the way since 2021. So in 2021, their revenue in quarter two was 56 million. Their recent quarter two of 2025, 544 million. So if we're just talking about the growth since 2021 to 2025, so the last 4 years, basically a 10x when it talks about their actual revenue. This company also very positive on their balance sheet, always has a positive earnings per share, showing that they are at a net positive, and the growth in this company is continuing because of all the innovation that they are doing. So recently, HIM and HERS Health popped up because they finally unveiled their testosterone therapy. So TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, is something that soon HIMS will be offering, and we will see this mainly in 2026. So just as this reads right here, this will certainly help sustain growth, particularly in fiscal year of 2026 and beyond. But we think ultimately the stock performance is much more tied to the weight management growth, durability, and potential upside. So them offering this TRT is absolutely huge. This isn't the only positive news that we have had with HIMS and HERS Health, but also they recently had their lawsuit rejected on the Eli Lilly case against Willow. And so they were being accused of stealing another company's drugs, or stealing their formula for the drugs, right? Stealing the Krabby Patty formula. But it turns out that they are okay there. So not only did they beat that lawsuit, but they also came out announcing testosterone. This is massive. And if we're just talking about customer acquisition, HIMS and HERS Health has been constantly gaining more customers, becoming more popular with the public. Now just another product that they are going to offer. And so this is huge because we will see a lot of customers who are already using HIMS and HERS Health start to use these supplements also. Say they are using supplements for hair loss or sexual reasons. Well, this is a good opportunity for those same customers to hop onto TRT. Myself personally, I am all natural right now. I am not into taking supplements, but I invest into HIMS and HERS Health because in the future, if I do, HIMS and HERS Health is probably the way I would go. I think that this company is great when they take away the doctor's visits and they allow these easy alternatives such as all these pills. And so just talking about the stock price again, personally at $51, I believe that this is a great entry point for HIMS and HERS Health. And to all my leverage investors, this is what I have been investing into, and that is HIMS with a Z. When the underlying HIMS goes up by 1%, HIMS with a Z goes up by 2%. So every 1% equals 2. And these double leveraged opportunities are amazing. I'll tell you what, if you have not invested into any of them yet, again, never financial advice, just my opinion, but I would definitely recommend into looking at them because it feels so easy to make money within these places. Because again, you're not doing anything crazy. You're just investing into the underlying stock essentially, but with leverage. And there are a ton of double leveraged opportunities within the market. I definitely recommend doing some research and possibly investing into some of these double leveraged opportunities because they could provide some true asymmetrical return, a little risk for a lot potentially gained. But I'm very bullish on both of these stocks, very excited about what we are seeing in the markets, and I just cannot wait to finally get to the FOMC meeting on September 17th. This has been anticipated all year long, so it's finally coming. I am super excited, but I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks in the comment section below. So please let me know if you are invested in the HOOD, HIMS, or any other stocks that you are looking at within the market. I always love to hear from you guys, so please drop that comment. Please leave a big like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you in tomorrow's daily talk of stock.